The World Health Organization has declared the COVID-19 pandemic no longer constitutes a global health emergency. The announcement made by the WHO chief on Friday signals an end to years of the coronavirus crisis phase in which millions died and economies were shattered.
In 3 years since then, COVID-19 has turned our world upside down. Almost 7 million deaths have been reported to WHO. But we know the toll is several times higher, at least 20 million.
Figures from the UN's health agency suggest more than 765 million people globally have been infected by the virus, and over 13 billion vaccine doses have been administered. Officials insist that while the emergency phase is over, the pandemic hasn't come to an end, noting recent spikes in cases in Southeast Asia and the Middle East.
As people in Sudan flee the violence that has engulfed their country since mid-April, news is emerging of the toll this civil war is having on children. UNICEF says the information it's receiving from health workers in the country paints a terrible picture.
Welcome to the press briefing here in Geneva at the UN. Today's Friday.
The reports we have received are 190 children killed and 1,700 injured. Now, when you break that down over those 11 days, that means that every single hour you have 7 boys or girls have been killed or injured. Again, these are only children getting to health facilities.
On Friday, the Sudanese army and rival RSF agreed to observe a ceasefire for 3 days, but it's rare for truces to hold for long in this war. There's increasing concern for those trapped and displaced by the fighting, and aid workers and civilians have said there's a dire lack of basic services, medical care, food and water.
It's an announcement no one saw coming. On Friday, the owner of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, threatened to withdraw his fighters from Bakhmut in Ukraine. This comes after he accused the Russian military command of withholding ammunition from his men and causing them heavy losses.
Сними всех! У нас нехватка боеприпасов! 70%! Шойгу! Герасимов! Где боеприпасы? Посмотрите на них,
Prigozhin is known for his bluster, so it remains to be seen whether he will follow through with his threat. He claimed that his group had planned to capture Bakhmut by May 9th, a symbolic date representing Nazi Germany's defeat in World War II. The Wagner group has spearheaded the Russian side of the struggle for control over the city for months. The devastated area has been the scene of the longest and likely the bloodiest battle of the war in Ukraine.
Building Europe in times of uncertainty. That's the theme of the 12th edition of the State of the Union conference. Speakers from around the world are in Florence in Italy for the 2-day event to discuss how Europe is forever changed since the coronavirus pandemic, the ongoing war in Ukraine and the energy crisis. Italy's foreign minister told reporters that Europe should take a more holistic approach to tackle the most pressing issues.
A volte l'Europa si concentra su piccoli problemi e non è in grado di affrontare le grandi questioni. Perché l'Italia ha posto il tema della migrazione? Perché è un tema che riguarda tutti, non è un tema che riguarda soltanto l'Italia.
Panelists also answered questions about Europe's role globally and how that might have changed in light of recent events.
Unfortunately, while we've got a little bit stronger, other people have got a whole lot stronger. So that relative to China, to Russia, to India, to other non-Western powers, I think we are relatively weaker, and that is part of our problem.
I tempi incerti non sono finiti e le prossime elezioni saranno cruciali per determinare il futuro dell'Unione Europea. Dalla conferenza sullo Stato dell'Unione emerge un messaggio molto chiaro. Le lezioni che sono state apprese dalla gestione delle recenti crisi da sole non bastano per costruire un'Europa più forte. Giorgia Orlandi, Euronews, Firenze.